Alright, what is up everybody? So this is the first video about radios on this channel. And here we're going to be reviewing the Tecsun PL990. So just before I start, I'm just going to talk about I'm new to all this shortwave thing. So like I say, I'm no expert and I might make a lot of mistakes or something. So if I do that, please correct me because it's always awesome to learn something new. Just a little heads up. Anyways, this is the PL990 receiver I got off of eBay for open box. It was an auction. Got it for about $80. So, yeah, I'm happy about it. So, without further ado, let's take a look at what we got. Alright, taking a look at the back of the radio. This is its frequency coverage. FM from 64 to 108 meg. AM bands all the way from 100K up to 30 megahertz. So it's a full coverage long wave, medium wave, short wave radio. The medium wave could also be adjusted between 9K step or 10K step for either Asian countries or the North American countries. So really good, lots of features. You also got single sideband and synchronous detection in this radio, as well as a Bluetooth player and an MP3 player. So yeah, full of features. Here you got the battery compartment. It takes a 18650 battery. It could be charged within the unit, so you could put that micro USB port, you can plug it in and charge this radio up. Up front, you get your numeric keypad for direct entry tuning, some page selection for the memories. It's got thousands of memories built. You could save up thousands of stations in this thing. AM bandwidth, I think there was 4 or 5 different bandwidths you could select within the AM band. And for the meter band, here is the selection here. There's also the ATS keys, which I rarely use. There's also the sidebands, single sideband, and the synchronous detection switch over here. You got a timer controls and time controls and all that. Tuning mode control. You got the mode selection from radio, MP3, and Bluetooth. You could select it with this button. Backlight controls, some tuning knobs and volume knobs, and this is the MP3 and Bluetooth control, and that's the power button. Up here you get the display selector switch, which toggles what kind of information to display on this top right corner here. This is the key lock, and this is the snooze button for the alarms. And there is a tone control on the right side, and on the left side you got an antenna switch. Between internal and external antenna switch, you got the antenna gain switch as well, 3 positions. And on the left side you got various outputs and inputs. You got an antenna out for external antenna. It's also coupled with a switch. You got a line out, and you got a headphone jack and a USB port, the micro USB port that is used for charging this radio. It could also be used as an auxiliary in. There's a hidden feature about that. So I'm not going to go over how to operate this radio because you could either read the manuals or, there's like dozens of different YouTubers out there that, like I said, does a better job than me explaining how to use this radio. So now let's talk about the pros and cons of this radio. So what I like about it is, first up, its sound quality. It has one of those 40 or 45 millimeter 3-watt drivers in there. The ones that you could find in a cheap Chinese Bluetooth speaker. And a passive radiator with it in a sealed enclosure. It doesn't sound necessarily as good as a Bose Soundlink Mini, but it is sounding about as good as, say, a JBL Go or JBL Clip, something like that. And might not be much, but it's already a big step ahead of some of those 3-inch, 1 watt or half watt flat radio speakers. Another thing I also like about this radio is, first up, it doesn't mute while tuning. Second up, it's got so many bandwidth selections and single sideband and all that. Basically, the user interface as a whole I love about. It's very, ergonomics. It's user friendly, I tell you that. Like I said, it doesn't mute while tuning, and there's so many different bandwidths to select from. And the single sideband resolution is incredibly fine. Up to 10 hertz of resolution on this radio. That is crazy. You don't get that on even the high-end portables, say the Sony ICF SW55, something like that. You don't even get that. That's crazy fun. That's really good. And every feature, except for maybe the memory, could be a bit confusing. It's pretty intuitive to use, and even the memory is not that hard to figure out. And the access to all those hidden functions could also be pretty easily figured out when reading the little provided document about the different sorts of hidden functions. So I think you can search that up online. I would also post a link that leads to that document. And yeah, the user interface as a whole is just very well designed, in my opinion. Better than a lot of other shortwave radios that I own. And the last but not least, what I also really like about this radio is its reception capabilities. It is a sensitive radio. It is on par with the Sony ICF 7600GR, maybe just a little bit behind the SW55, but very, very close. And the selectivity wise on this thing, probably better than both of those because this is a DSP based radio. It does have one of those Silicon Labs chip in there, and they're known for great selectivity. And this thing does have that. So really good at receiving capabilities. And when it's paired up with all the different features it's got, different bandwidths and very, very fine resolution single sideband capabilities, this radio would in fact outperform the Sonys and probably even match the Grundig Satellite 700. Maybe a little behind, but I would say very, very close when I compared them both. So that's what I really, really like about this radio. It's pretty much everything because, other than that, there's only a couple of small pet peeves and one issue that I have with this radio that could potentially be a problem, and I'm going to talk about that right now. So let's start from that big, serious issue here. The synchronous detection on this thing is absolute crap. I tried it on weaker AM stations. I tried it on stronger AM stations with fading or without fading. All of them sounds like crap. It has a lot of distortion, and turning that synchronous detector on, it just adds extra distortion onto what originally is probably already not so good of a signal. So yeah. If I were to buy this radio, I would just consider the sync feature on this thing to be non-existent. I never use it. I never recommend anyone to use it because it's not going to help. So that could be one major issue, major drawback for a lot of y'all. Another thing that could also be an potential issue is the fact that it uses a 18650 battery, and although it's kind of a common sell, but occasionally, sometimes we don't know that much about the battery and whatnot. We only have to use the ones that it came with, and we don't have a spare one. And the one that came with the original unit was a piece of crap. I tossed it out already. It just doesn't hold a charge for a very long time for a reason. So yeah, the battery could be an issue. That would be the only two big things that I don't like about this radio. And there will be only other little pet peeves, but that doesn't really matter that much, I guess. First up is the backlight does not completely shut off. Even if it have it at the auto off position, it would still turn on when you touch a knob. Even if you have the key lock activated, it will still turn on if you press one of these buttons, which is, I don't know why they did that. And another thing I don't like about it is the antenna gain switch. It's a 3-position switch. Hey, this is a $250 radio. It should have been like a variable, kind of an analog dial instead of just a 3-position switch. So yeah, they didn't do too good on that. Another thing is the antenna does not pull out, so it does not make full clearance on top of the radio sometimes, and you can't really lay this flat on a table when you're trying to tune. So yeah, that would be the little pet peeves I have about this radio, and pretty much that's it. Now let's get to some testing. We're going to first do an FM sound quality test, also the internal speaker test. So I'm just going to transmit something on my FM transmitter and play some music. All right, so I'll play some music, and I do not own this song. Alright, so that's a bit of demo on the FM. So I am going to now tune into a strong AM station. I'm going to bring it somewhere else so that it won't get all the interference from my computer. Alright, so this is a local AM station. Signal is very, very strong. So strong as to the fact that it actually overloads my Sony SW55. So
Picasso insisted that that painting,
here's the different
which
bandwidths.
was so much against the current government of Spain, Francisco Franco, he would not allow his painting to be in a Franco-ruled Spain. And it wasn't until Franco finally died and a new democratic regime came in that painting could be
4 different bandwidths to select
and
from.
brought back to its homeland. So Franco dies in 1975.
Now I'm going to tune into a weaker station. Alright, here's a weaker station. And I will be switching the gain to DX.
I was able to start the second portion of the book, but not we couldn't make a look at the beginning. I'm like, well, what kind of person would think something like that? You know, somebody who probably dealt with a lot of pain, somebody with probably some advanced military training, analytical ability to work through being tortured, you know, and all of a sudden this guy, Ray Hendrick, started.
I'm going to be activating synchronous detection. You will now understand what the distortion I'm talking about. The popping noise when the guy talks. So that is what I'm talking about. Alright. Now let's move on to shortwave. Alright, so this is a stronger station. This is Radio Marti. This is one of the better, one of the stations I can receive very well at where I live. I will show you the single sideband. Very fine resolution. Does need some calibration though, but I didn't really bother to do it. And also the different bandwidths available.
Contra el equipo de LeBron James a las 7:30. Vale la pena recalcar que el juego de estrellas de la NBA ha tenido audiencia, por lo menos en televisión, muy baja en los últimos años.
I'm going to set at 3.5. Alright. Now I am going to tune into the time station, WWV. So this one is obviously weaker than the last one, but we can still hear it. Alright, the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to scan through the 31 meter band to see what we could pick up. I'm going to guess mostly weak stations or stations that I can't really pick up well indoors. And I do not have an external antenna attached, so we're going to see what we get. Alright, so we got something. This is also Radio Marti. Let's keep moving on. A very weak station. This is a station coming from Nashville, WWCR. I can't really pick it up well here. And that is it. So, as you can tell, very good tuning capabilities, and it doesn't mute while tuning, so scanning through a band is a simple joy. I love it. Now, that's a little bit of a demonstration of this radio. I will do comparisons using this radio with, say, a Sangean, a Sony, or something like that, and I will upload videos of that. It would be in a similar kind of a format, instead I will go back and forth between two radios. Just a little heads up, I might do that in the future, and there's also other reviews coming up. So if you enjoyed it, thank you. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave it in the comments. I'll be really happy to see them. So there you have it.